It is. I should. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our April Shotsky Memorial, in which we gratefully and humbly remember all of our ancestors who have passed away in the month of April. We are also celebrating the birth of Siddhartha Gautama, the historical prince who awoken to the universal truths, became Shakyamuni Buddha, and founded a religion called Buddhism. So it's a very joyful celebration for Buddhists all across the world, and I'm very grateful that you're joining us today. My name is Reverend JP, and I'm going to start service by ringing the Kancho bell. And as you listen to the bell, forget about everything else that's on your mind. Forget about the bad traffic, forget about your stomach rumbling. Don't worry, there will be lunch. Forget about all the daily annoyances. All you need to do is listen to that single hit of the bell. Listen to it rise, listen to it fall. Just focus on that bell to let everything else melt away. When you hear the sound of the bell melt away, that's the sound of all of your anxieties for the morning just melting away. After that, we will have our formal welcome. I'm just the warm-up act for sets. And then we will proceed. So thank you so much. Ohayo gozaimashita. Namandam, 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 namandavs, 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 namandavs.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see familiar faces and some new faces too, which we hope will become familiar faces. I can't really add to what Reverend JP said. He did it so well. And so we're just going to start with his reading of the names of the persons who we are remembering for this month of April. Our ancestors, our family and friends, and members of the Sangha who passed in this month of April. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sets. And I also want to express my welcome and gratitude for all of you for joining us here today. I've only been a part of the BCSB community for a few months, so everyone is kind of a new face. So thank you so much. As Sets very beautifully said, we're reading and remembering all of our ancestors and loved ones who have passed away in this month. And even if you have an ancestor who maybe passed away in the month of April and is not here, or maybe you just have an ancestor who is no longer physically with us, I invite you to remember them. If anything, the names that we see on this list are responsible for our ability to be here in this beautiful Hondo today. We remember humbly and gratefully Sentaro Asakura, Hisakichi Hikida, Genkichi Hirashima, Yonekichi Inoue, Misa Iwasaki, Mr. Kaneko, Myohei Kawamura, Tomisuke Kawano, Mary Koga, Masaki Koga, Tomekichi Koga, Yeiko Komatsu, Fusae Kozaki, Torataro Kuro, Ishie Kurozumi, Hisayoshi Kusayanagi, Mary Kuamoto Barrett, Miyoko Tabata, Tsuyo Matsumoto, Kei Murakami, Mitsue Matsubara, Satoru Nakamura, Yoichi Nishihara, Sanosuke Noe, Ayako Okada, Toyokichi Omura, the Otsuka family, Chi Sato, Henry Hiraku Tanaka, Akihiko Takano, Hiroshi Takeda, Ichiro Torigoe, Florence Tsunoda, Hisao Yamada, Masato Yamada, Dorothy Fuji. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandavs, 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 Namandavs.
Reverend JP will now lead us in sutra chanting, and you can find the sutras in the maroon book. First, it's Kanbutsuge on page 84, followed by Tan Nembutsu on page 127, and Eikoku 1 on page 128. During the chanting of the sutra, we invite you to bathe the baby Buddha in sweet tea, and that way we remember and appreciate and thank him for founding our Buddhism. So again, you do not have to be a Buddhist in order to participate. And JG can show us how to do it, as she's the first person.
Yeah.
No pressure, JG.
Do I just do it once, or?
I could do it.
Okay,
Oh, thank you.
I've never.
Save the day.
Thank you so much, Sets, for that. And I just want to provide a little bit of context for this ritual. First of all, I'd like to give and invite all of us to give a round of applause to all of the volunteers who not only secured these gorgeous flowers, but took their time, took their energy, took their creativity to make this beautiful flower pavilion for us. So it's really, really beautiful. And my Japanese is very limited, but Hanamatsuri means Festival of Flowers. And if you're wondering why we have this gorgeous flower pavilion, is that when Siddhartha Gautama, who was a real person who lived in modern-day Nepal 2,500 years ago, when he was born, it is said that flowers instantly bloomed. It is said that sweet rain fell down from the sky. And when he was born, he pointed up, he pointed down, and said he is the great world-honored one. And in any other circumstance, you're like, wow, that sounds like a really egotistical baby. But aren't all babies a little egotistical? They're always crying, they're always wanting something. But of course, I don't know if that was actually real, but mythology tells stories. And the mythology of flowers instantaneously blooming, sweet rain falling from the sky, signals that this was a great, auspicious occasion. That the person who was being born was born into this world to share teachings that would be very special to all of us. So you'll see that we have these gorgeous flowers, and to represent the sweet rain falling from the sky, our temple helpers created and brewed some sweet tea for us. And you can watch me. And what we do is approach, take the ladle, scoop a little bit of that sweet tea, and then pour it over the statue of the baby Buddha. So as Sets mentioned, I'm going to chant a very special chant. We only chant it once a year, which is great, because if I chant it off pitch, you won't remember by the time you come back next year. So we think of everything in Buddhism, we think of everything. So feel free to participate if you so feel comfortable. Feel free to chant if you feel so comfortable. And then afterwards, we will move on.
I'm going to learn how to do it right too, so thank you.
So I'll chant it, and then I'll do it. Namandab, namandab, namandabs, 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 namandabs. We, the Sangha of the Buddhist Church of Santa Barbara, humbly and gratefully gather to celebrate the birth of Siddhartha Gautama, the Indian prince who appeared in this world to clarify universal teachings that aim for the spiritual enlightenment and liberation of all. Side view. Mm. And I'm causing a mess already. Oh my goodness. Mm. So far, so good. Poured it over. put it back. Slight bow. It's so easy. Yes. Kanbutsuge, Gatha on bathing the Buddha image. Gakon kanmoku shonyorai. Gakon kanmoku shonyorai. Jochi shogon kudokuju. Jochi shogon kudokuju. Gojoku shujo ryoriku. Gojoku shujo ryoriku. Dosho nyorai johoshin. Namandabu. 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 Gannishi kuroku. Byoro seisai. No hoten bodaishin. Ojo anako. Namandams, namandams, namandams.
Will you all please rise for the reading of the Threefold Refuge, which can be found on page 59? And we invite you to read along with us.
So for a little bit of context, on page 59 of our service book is something called the Threefold Refuge. And whatever school of Buddhism you may go to, we're a school called Jodo Shinshu, which is a type of Pure Land Buddhism that comes from Japan. Whether you go into a Buddhist temple in Japan, a Buddhist temple in Thailand, like they just did in the recent season of The White Lotus on HBO, if you go to a temple in Cambodia, if you go to a temple in Fresno, California, every single school of Buddhism has these three refuges, right? We take refuge, we go and seek comfort and solace in three important things. So I will start. Difficult it is to receive life in human form. Now we're living it. Difficult it is to hear the Dharma of the Buddha. Now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us with sincerity and true reverence take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed intent of Amida Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds of thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandavs, 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 Namandavs. Thank you so much.
You may be seated.
And so, friends, whether we are lifetime Buddhists and maybe never fully understand why we say the Threefold Refuge, or if this is our first time visiting a Buddhist temple, I just want to reiterate that this is something that connects us to Buddhists all across the world. This idea of seeking comfort, seeking teaching, seeking guidance in the Buddha, who we honor today. Seeking guidance in the Buddha's teachings, known as the Dharma. And seeking guidance, seeking comfort in all the people on that same path with us, and that is the Sangha. So thank you for that. So today, as we mentioned earlier, is the celebration of Hanamatsuri, and I'll be 100% honest with you, I can't talk and type in my computer password at the same time. Otherwise, my computer password will be whatever's coming out of my mouth, so I do apologize. I don't know if you heard that, but I have to have a very long computer password. This is my work computer, so apparently password 123 exclamation mark isn't a safe password. But anyway, so friends, we're gathered to celebrate, two ostensibly very different things, right? We're celebrating a birth, the birth of the historical Buddha, but we're also here to commemorate death. We're remembering our loved ones who have passed away. Right? And so I was thinking about how could we think about those two things together? And I think that it comes through the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, the very basic teachings that you'll find in any Buddhist temple around the world. And I think that those teachings of the Buddha can give us great comfort as we remember our ancestors that are being remembered today. And so my Dharma talk today is actually about a ritual that normally we do. If you notice, there's this very large incense burner up here, and generally we actually burn incense as a part of our Buddhist rituals. Again, that's something that you'll find in all sorts of Buddhist traditions all across the world. But because it's Hanamatsuri, we have the kanbutsu instead. But I still want to think about how can we learn something about the act of burning incense. How many of you, raise your hand pretty please, have burned incense at some point in your life? Very good, very good. And again, maybe you think of incense as very calming. Maybe you think of your parents or grandparents who burned incense in the home. And I'd like to argue that there is something to that we could all learn. And so I'd like to begin with a reading. And this reading is from the head abbot of our school of Buddhism from several generations ago, named Renyo. He is the person who is depicted in that image over there. And Renyo wrote a very well-known letter. He was known as the great PR guy of our tradition because he realized, not everyone is going to read the 800 pages of the founder, who is depicted right here. Not everyone necessarily will even go to temple, but they will listen to quick, short letters, right? They'll listen to something quick, something snappy, right? It's almost like he predicted our poor attention span in the 21st century. And I'm not judging anyone because I have the worst attention span. What am I doing here? So anyway, Renyo wrote this letter called On White Ashes. And it's generally read at funerals, but I think it's very applicable whenever we remember an ancestor. So if you so choose, please join me in Gasho, which is putting our hands together, as I read Letter on White Ashes. The fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old, and therefore we must one and all turn to the teaching of the Buddha and awaken to the ultimate source of life. By so understanding the meaning of death, we shall come to fully appreciate the meaning of this life, which is unrepeatable and thus to be treasured above all else. By virtue of the true compassion, let us realize the unexcelled value of our human existence. And let us live with the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in our hearts. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandas, Namandas, Namandas. So thank you so much for that opportunity. And again, part of the reason also I was thinking about incense is at my main temple. I actually live in Los Angeles. We have lots of visitors, and one of our lay leaders said, "JP, there's a visitor. Show them how to burn incense. Show them how to Oshoko." I'm like, I don't want to. I'm embarrassed. I don't think I do it right. And they're like, "You're the minister." I'm like, "You can't prove that." So I was thinking about the importance of Oshoko, which is the ritual of burning incense. And it was really special to me because, spoiler alert, I was not born Buddhist. And the first time I started really coming to the Buddhist temple by my house, our sister temple in San Fernando, it was a very kind elder who saw me kind of bashful, kind of stumbling, not fully knowing what to do, very much seeing I was out of place. And her great compassion was looking out for me. She could see that I was a little like I wanted to participate, but I didn't. And I still hold that very near and dear to me, that she showed me how to do this. But it's not just knowing the ritual of what to do, right? It's actually a ritual that's symbolic. Everything that we do here, lighting candles, burning incense, chanting, all of that is symbolic of much deeper teachings, right? And incense is a great way to bridge that. Reverend Ken Yamada, who is a Dharma friend from our kind of sister school of Buddhism, which is called Higashi Honganji, or something called Nishi Honganji, he said, whatever the case, this is his words, I think incense helps create a sacred, holy, and contemplative atmosphere, right? Studies show, he continues, incense helps feel people relaxed, reduce stress, raise their mental awareness, relieve depression, boost their immune system, and spur creativity. Incense is used in the Indian Ayurvedic and holistic medicine as well. So that's pretty neat, right? That's pretty neat. And so in this light, incense teaches us the Dharma, a great truth about ourselves. For example, he continues, when lit, incense is both the living and dying simultaneously. And that is just like us, living in a world of great life and sadly death as well. This shows us, right? We light the incense and you see the flame, and then the flame turns to smoke and the smoke disappears. And this shows us the truth of impermanence. And that was one of the great teachings that the historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, taught. Right? The smoke drifts away and eventually disappears. And so if we think about this really seriously, right, incense offers all of these different meanings. Now, of course, one way to think about this is that incense literally was to purify, right? In ancient India, in the time of historical Shakyamuni Buddha, they did not have Febreze, for example. They did not have air freshener. They did not have deodorant or anything like that. Fun fact, when I went to Japan to get ordained, one of our most trusted, beloved teachers were like, "Sensei, what do we pack? Like, what sacred things, like, should we bring our, what type of sacred scriptures should we bring?" And he was like, we'll pack this, this, and this, but bring Febreze, because you people, you're going to get ripe. And we did, because it was 11 days wearing, very traditional Japanese garments, and it's a great honor and privilege to wear them. And yeah, we got ripe, because it was there was no, like, people say, "JP, that must have been so wonderful, 11 days of meditating and getting to know yourself." And I said, "Oh no, that's not it. It's a lot of like chanting, studying, testing, being told you're wrong, and a lot of running back and forth in the full gear." So point being, how grateful I was that the training center had a lot of incense to purify us. But more specifically, if we think about the burning of incense, as Reverend Yamada said, it helps us clear our mind. When we smell the incense, maybe we smell home. Maybe we smell our grandparents, our parents. Maybe we just know this is a space that is different from the workaday world, right? Your office at 8 a.m. on a Monday, I don't know what it smells like. Probably smells like sadness that you have to be in your office on Monday at 8 a.m., but it doesn't smell like this. It has that sense of saying we're in a very special place, right? And so the longer that I stayed in the temple, the more I watched people burn incense with such grace and such joy. And it really stuck with me. I saw people approach with such humility and put their hands together and say, "Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu," which literally means I take refuge in the Buddha of immeasurable light and life. But we could also think about that as saying, in terms of, I take refuge, I seek guidance, I seek comfort in great life, all life, great compassion that is embracing us always. And these people would come up and say, "Namandam, Namandam, Namo Amida Butsu," so beautifully, so powerfully, right? That it really stuck with me. I thought, this is something special. It's not just something that you do before putting your donation in the box, right? And when I did go to my ordination training, one of the ministers, a great, wonderful teacher, coached us on lots of different rituals, because there's lots of different rituals. And he said that burning incense for him, when he was ordained some 25 years ago, was one of the most beautiful expressions of Buddhism he had ever saw. And I thought, wow, that's so beautiful. Wow, that's so beautiful. And so, indeed, there are certain rituals to burning incense. We walk up, we approach with our left foot, we take a pinch of incense, we put it in the burner, see, I told you, you shouldn't follow me. We walk up, we bow, we take a pinch of incense, we put it in the burner, we put our hands together and say, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu, Nam Manda Butsu. We do a slight bow, we step back with our right foot, and we bow again, and then we return. And I don't want us to get tripped up and, I have to do it just right, or else they'll kick me out, right? That's not the point. As I said, the point is, what is it about this ritual that was so meaningful to these people? And so let's see here, let me go along here. I want us to think about, again, that great meaning. Because on the one hand, we could think about offering incense as an expression of gratitude, first and foremost, right? Gratitude for the fact that even though I am what we call in Japanese, bombu, even though I'm a foolish being, I am governed by greed, I'm governed by anger, I'm governed by delusion. We usually teach that to the Dharma school kids as greed, anger, and stupidity, or gas, because you can make kids giggle by saying, do you have a lot of gas today? I bet I have a lot of gas today. But point being, right, like we think we're good people, and I'm sure all of you are. I'd like to think I am. I'm not. But at the end of the day, no matter how good I think I'm the best, I worked hard, I am a minister, all sorts of things like that, I am still racked with frustration. I am still sad that season 3 of The White Lotus ended and it did not end the way I wanted it to end. I am still, greedy that I, really want to eat carbs really badly because French fries and rice are delicious, but I'm also pre-diabetic, right? I'm deluded because I think that the world should conform to what I want. And yet, life is still good, right? I'm not saying life is perfect and we're going to walk out of here and sail away on a lotus flower. Life is going to happen. Life is going to happen to all of us, right? Neighbors are going to be just awful, right? Coworkers are going to be annoying. And you're going to feel frustrated about those things. And yet, we still receive great life. I am so humbled by thinking about all the people whose names I got to read today because their lives enabled me to be with you, all of you right now. For those of you who actually are here to remember your ancestors who passed away in the month of April, thank you so much, thank you so much, thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias. Arigatou gozaimashita. I'd say it in Tagalog, but it's going to be really bad, and I don't want to look bad in front of my mom. But thank you. Your family worked so hard to build this temple, to build this church. So all of us could be here right now. Whether it's your first time, maybe you just heard me banging the bell outside and you wondered what was up. Maybe you've known this church even before this church was here. Those ancestors made us here. So we say thank you. And burning the incense is a way to say thank you. And so I also want to share another expression of the Buddha's teaching of interdependence. And interdependence isn't just the sense of, oh, it's such a small world. Like, did you know that, you meet someone, such a small world. Like, my hairdresser's cousin's brother is your mailman. Wow, that's a small world, right? That's not interdependence in the Buddhist sense. In the Buddhist sense, interdependence is this idea of oneness, that truly, in the metaphysical realm, there is only oneness. There is only great life. How many of you have ever heard of an NBC show called The Good Place? Well, 2 people have. Sounds like we'll have to do a lunch and learn where I talk about The Good Place. But there's a common metaphor in Buddhism that talks about death. And it basically looks at the ocean. And when I was a postdoc at UC Santa Barbara 10 years ago, when I first met Sets and Dennis and Jody, I sometimes would walk along the beach and I would look at the ocean and think of this metaphor that said, what happens when we die? And this Buddhist metaphor says that let's back up and not think about what happens when you die. Think about you right now. Think about you as a wave. And a wave comes from the ocean. You can see the wave because all of the right conditions had to come together for the wave to be there at that very moment. I'm not going to talk about the scientific conditions because I know there are scientists in the room and I'm going to mess it up. But the water temperature, the water pressure, the air pressure, everything had to come together for that wave to arise. And you were that wave. Every one of you is a wave. You could see the wave, you could hear the wave, you could feel the wave, you could touch the wave, you could taste the wave if you want. It's a wave. It's you, it's me, it's Jody, it's JJ. But eventually that wave has to crash against the shore. And the wave, as you know it, is gone. But it doesn't disappear because it returns to the ocean. And that is the oneness of great life we talk about. And so I thought about this even more when I went to the West LA Buddhist Temple, which is in Sawtelle, Japantown. I teach part-time at UCLA, and I brought my students to that temple. And a student asked the minister there, Reverend Koe Umezu, hey, sensei, like, what's the deal with incense? And her answer was so beautiful, and it reminded me of that metaphor of the ocean. Because if you walk up to the incense burner, and I invite you to do so afterwards, we generally think about the powdered incense. We think about, I got to get up there, I got to get my pinch of incense, and I have to put it there, and then I'm going to say nam mandam, nam mandam. I'm going to bow, I'm going to go back to my seat. We don't focus on the ash. Right? We focus on the incense. The incense is me. I picked up the incense. I picked it up with my two little hands. I'm putting it in there. And we forget about the ash. But think about the hundreds, if not thousands of people who had to burn incense for the charcoal, for the incense to turn into that ash. And that is a metaphor for all of us. That our little bit of incense rests on the ash. In the same way, our little cells rest on all of our ancestors. And over time, that little bit of incense is going to become a part of that ash, just in the same way that we're going to be reabsorbed into all life. And so that was just really, really special to me. To think about, again, I have not met, Setz's family, I have not met JJ's family, I have not met the families who built this church literally with their own two hands. But they have enabled me to be here. They have enabled me to live my life. It may sound a little cliched, but what makes me me is not, necessarily like my degrees, it's not my experiences. Truly what has made me me is the fact that I have encountered all of you. So how grateful I am that karmic circumstances have shaped all of you to be here at this very moment. And so I want to close by reminding us of one more way to think about the significance of burning incense as we remember the historical Buddha. Part of the three treasures that we began with was to say, I take refuge in the Dharma. And if we think about the smoke from the incense, it washes over us, just as the Dharma, just as the universal truth of interdependence, the universal truth of impermanence washes over us. The founder of our school of Buddhism, Shinran Shonin, famously taught that the great compassion of all life embraces us always, tirelessly, no matter how foolish we are, right? Even if you put your little bit of incense into the incense burner and then sprint away, the smoke is still going to wash over you. Just in the same way, that great compassion that is made possible through the vow of Amida Buddha. The Amida Buddha is the statue we see there as the embodiment of that great life, of that great compassion. And so as we continue to remember our loved ones who have departed, let us take joy in the teachings of the historical Buddha. Please join me once again, everyone, if you so choose, with your palms together as I recite the letter on white ashes from Renyo. The fragile nature of human existence underlies both the young and the old, and therefore we must, one and all, turn to the teaching of the Buddha and awaken to the ultimate source of life. By so understanding the meaning of death, we shall come to fully appreciate the meaning of this life, which is unrepeatable and thus to be treasured above all else. By virtue of true compassion, let us realize the unexcelled value of our human existence, and let us live with the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, in our hearts. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Nam Mandas, Nam Mandas, Nam Mandas. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Sensei. Would you all please rise, and we invite you to recite the pledge led by Reverend JP, and the pledge is on the back of your service program.
Okay. So friends, this pledge was written by the current head abbot of our school of Buddhism, who's a direct descendant of our founder, Shinran Shonin. He wrote this as a way for us not to feel that we have to, feel bad about ourselves, but rather to think about how can we aspire to something bigger than ourselves. We're going to stumble, we're going to fall, and that's perfectly fine, as long as we remember these words. Our pledge, breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Nam Mandas, Nam Mandas, Nam Mandas.
Thank you. Please remain standing for Gatha, A Flower Grows. Again, led by Reverend JP. This is a new one for me.
Indeed. So in Buddhism, song is a way that we express our gratitude to the teachings. In the story of Amida Buddha's Pure Land, a realm of unexcelled enlightenment, there are stories of precious sounds and precious music that we still hold dear as a way to express our gratitude. And so this is a gatha written by Linda Castro, who was married to the Rinban, or the head minister of the Seattle Buddhist Temple. And it is a lovely story about flowers growing to help us close our celebration of Hanamatsuri. Seed a flower grows, it stretches up and looks for the sun. This flower opens and shares its beauty and sweetness with everyone. From a tiny embryo grown just like the Buddha born on this day. His precious teaching will help us through, and we each must find our own way. Our gentle thoughts, our kindly words, our gentle thoughts, our kindly words, through these our goodness shows. When we nurture the goodness planted inside, it grows, it grows. Bring the flowers, gather them all, and make the temple ring with our song. The Hanamatsuri will last one day, but we can flower with goodness our whole life long. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu. You may be seated.
I want to first of all thank every one of you for joining us today for this joyous celebration of Hanamatsuri and remembering and appreciating our ancestors who passed in this month. Also, I want to express great, deep appreciation to Christophe, who has generously started us into the digital age, and we're streaming. And it's going to be on YouTube, I think. I'm a dinosaur when it comes to technology, so excuse my phraseology, which is probably very imperfect. And before I turn it over to Reverend JP, I wanted to invite everyone to remain after the service ends and join us in the social hall for light refreshments. The social hall is just behind you with a table with all the beautiful flowers that Jody graciously got from Trader Joe's. Thank you very much, TJ's. And with our meal, Reverend JP will lead us in a discussion or share his thoughts, or I'll let him explain. Thank you.
Thank you, Sats. So again, thank you all so much for joining us here today. At first I was like, oh man, no one's singing the song. But then I was like, oh wait, I'm not singing the song either. But in part that's because I have the wireless mic thanks to Christophe, and I didn't want to like blow out the eardrums of whoever might be listening online. But thank you so much for being here. Again, thank you to our temple helpers who arranged the beautiful Hanamido, who keeps the temple tidy and clean. Thanks to Sets and Dennis, who are unstoppable in making sure the lights stay on and the doors stay open. If you have not received our newsletter, it is chock full of good stuff. And so I want to thank JJ for working very hard on that as well. Again, thank you to Christophe for pulling us into the 21st century. It's wonderful, 25 years in. So thank you so much. And truly thank you all for this opportunity. I do want to acknowledge and thank anyone I may have forgotten. I do apologize. I was telling Sets, normally I write stuff on my hand, but I don't have a pen with me. So I do apologize. Gomenasai, that's like, there you go. That's one Japanese phrase I did have to learn very quickly. Thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge, out of curiosity, if you so desire, if we have any first-time visitors, could you maybe raise your hand? Oh my goodness, so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So we're small but mighty. And so we hope you join us in the future. Next month, we're going to have a very, very joyous celebration because it honors the founder of our School of Buddhism. We also have weekly Qigong classes led by Dennis, who holds down the fort. Literally, he's in the back right now. We also have our annual Obon celebration coming back, thanks to the diligence and hard work of temple members, so thank you. It's a wonderful festival where we honor our ancestors. It's very similar to Dia de los Muertos in the Latino Catholic tradition. And I also want to acknowledge I apologize for putting you on the spot, but we also have a new cabinet, a new board of directors. And these are people who have stepped up to the plate to ensure that the Buddhist Church of Santa Barbara continues to thrive and share these teachings with everyone. So if you are one of those lucky 7, could you raise your hand? Thank you so much. That's wonderful. And so, again, truly, thank you so much for making sure that this temple continues to thrive. And so, if you please so desire, we're going to have a delicious lunch made by all of our temple members right afterwards. And we do a lunch and learn where you have to listen to me once again. And I'm going to talk a little bit in these lunch and learns about how we could see Buddhism in pop culture. So today, I'm going to talk about a Netflix show that I really, really loved during the pandemic called Grace and Frankie. Has everyone heard of that show? No, it's a cute show. So we'll watch a few clips. We'll talk a little bit about what these kooky senior citizens can teach us about Buddhism. We'll enjoy fellowship with each other. And before we dine, if you join us, I hope you can. If you need to go on and live your life, that's perfectly fine. But before we have our meal, let's do our pre-meal Shokuzen no Gasho. If you could join me with your palms together. We gratefully, thankfully acknowledge and receive the great compassion of all life that is manifested in the fellowship we can enjoy, the food that will nourish us in the same way that the Dharma nourishes us. Namo Amida Butsu, itadakimasu. Oh, Jody-san knows what's up. So are there any other announcements?
I just wanted to say, it's going to take us a little bit of time to set stuff up, so be patient, but stick around, please.
Yeah, you could explore the beautiful gardens. And Jody brought up a good point. If you would like, no pressure whatsoever, if you would like, we're going to take a group photo in front of our onaijin, or our altar, and our beautiful hanamido as a way to remember this joyful celebration, and also to give to our friends at Trader Joe's to say that your flowers went to a beautiful, beautiful cause. So please join us. If you have to head off, please enjoy the rest of your day. Please be safe. I know we have someone who came all the way up from Long Beach. So safe travels back down. Maybe I'll see you on the 101, on the 405. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sets. Oh, yeah.
Thanks so much.
No, thank you for joining us.
Where's the church you